Hello, welcome back or welcome. And I just want to start by saying thank you so much to the new subscribers to my channel and also the really positive comments and the questions that I've been receiving. I am new to this. I started this because I'm passionate about these teachings and I just wanted to share them and share my understanding of them with others in the hope that it might help you. And so it's really just a passion project, and I've just been really very grateful for the positive feedback that I have been receiving, which just makes me want to do this more and more. So thank you. With that being said, today I wanted to talk about creating the space for you to create the new story, because that is what I've done this weekend. I took myself to a cabin in the woods, and it was just me and Neville, and I had a wonderful time, and I just wanted to share that with you. So stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I am a qualified life coach, adult educator, and author. I'm also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the wonderful Neville Goddard. It is the stories we tell that create our life. So if you want to change your life, you have to change the stories. And if you want to create an amazing life, then you need to know how to tell amazing stories. And that is why I am here. I am a storyteller and I'm passionate about the power of stories. I'm working on telling myself better stories and I want to help you to do the same. So if you would like further support, I am available for one-on-one coaching and also email coaching. You'll find the details in the box below, and you can also stay connected on my socials, mainly Instagram really, and those details are in the box below as well. Okay, let's get into it. So today I'm talking about creating the space for you to create. And why is this important? Well, this weekend I took myself off to a cabin in the woods or the mountains, kind of like in the middle of nowhere, with no reception, nothing, really nothing. Like the closest town was about 45 minutes away. I didn't have any phone reception. I didn't use my computer. I didn't obviously get on any socials. I didn't do any YouTubing. I just took my notebook and my trusty, the complete reader. And that was pretty much it for the last 3 days. It was just me, myself, and I, and Nev, and a notebook. The reason that I did this was because we have just become so, like, the world we are living in is just so fast paced. There is so much going on. You know, we've got jobs, we've got responsibilities, we've got families, we've got social community. There is just so much going on. And I know for me that for me to create a new story, a new narrative, it's really important to quiet down the mind and to really get into a place where there are just no distractions. And I knew to do that I would have to take myself off somewhere way, way, way far away. And it was, you know, it was an interesting process because I've traveled a lot on my own. And there have definitely been times where I get lonely, but this time I really sensed that since discovering these teachings, I do not feel that way because it feels like I've come home to myself. I'm with myself and I just want to be with myself in that way. Not to say that I don't want to be in a relationship and out in the world. I do, of course, but to have that time just to myself with nothing else, no distractions, other than the animals that were there. There were lots of cows and horses and birds and creepy crawlies that I didn't even know existed, and a fire. That's incredibly good company, who knew? But really just coming back to self and coming back to silence and quiet. So I didn't have any stereo, I didn't have any television. There was literally nothing other than the sounds of nature to keep me company. And it took me about a day to kind of decompress. And then on the second day, I kind of took my notebook out. I went actually for a walk up the hill to a cabin at the top of the mountain that the owners had built. And there was just like nothing around. You couldn't see a house. It was just hills and mountains as far as the eye could see, and just silence. And it was there that I pulled out my notebook, and I was like, all right. And I wrote down each area of my life. Started off by writing what was going on in that area currently. What was my reality reflecting back? What was I saying yes to in consciousness that was showing up in my reality? And then I asked myself, what is it that I wanted from each of those areas? Then, according to Neville, what I was reading in the Complete Reader, and what he would teach you is, how do you know that you already have that? Because this is really the most important part of the law of assumption, is not thinking of what you want, but thinking from that place of already having what you want and already being that person that you want to be. And he would call that living in the end, or living from the wish fulfilled. You know, that can be a difficult place to get to when we are crowded with distractions and people and obligations and responsibilities and jobs and, you know, children and families and friends and everything else that this wonderful life has to offer and is beautiful. But to be able to really ground yourself, first of all, and then to engage that power, the power of your imagination. If we're not used to doing that all the time, and if we're new to these teachings, it can take a little energy and effort. And for me, certainly, I knew that I needed some quiet time. So then what I was able to do is to drop into that place of having what it was that I wanted in each of those areas of my life, and to be in that state of consciousness of already having what it was that I wanted. We can just fall into a bit of a rut with our reality, and we just accept things as they are, as opposed to going, hang on a second, I am the creator of my reality, I am the operant power. I do get to decide based on the consciousness that I choose to hold about every area of my life. And am I prepared to put the effort in to investing in a new state of consciousness and holding that new state of consciousness, engaging the power of my imagination and persisting with that new story until it hardens into fact, which is sometimes not instant because we have the old story and that's been playing for a while. It can be a really useful exercise, and you don't have to be like me and go and take yourself off into the mountains for 3 days on your own. That might not be realistic with your situation in life, and that's fine too. But I would challenge you and urge you to look at where can you create some space for yourself where you can just switch off and turn everything off, even if it's just for a few hours. I mean, if you can get away for a day or a weekend, that's ideal. But even if it's just an hour or a couple of hours where you shut the door, you go into a room, you're with yourself, you tell whoever you need to tell that this is your time, and you take your notebook in there and you really look at each area of your life and ask yourself very honestly, am I really getting what I want in each area of my life? Is my consciousness where it needs to be based on what it is that I do want? And what is it that I want? I mean, that's a question in itself that can take some getting used to. We're not often we're not we haven't been allowed or given ourselves permission to really ask, what is it that I really want in this area? And even just looking at your reality as just objective feedback as to where are you right now in each area of your life? Is that favorable? Are you satisfied with that? Are you content? Or would you like to have something different or recreate it or bring something new in? And if that's the case, then using the law of assumption, we need to create the consciousness of that thing desired and become that. And the way we do that, because it's not in our 3D, if we want something that we don't have, that's because it's not in our 3D. So we're not going to get it by focusing on the 3D, because that's just the reflection of current consciousness. So we need to up-level our consciousness to that thing that we want, to become the person that already has that thing or that situation or that partner or whatever it is. The way we get there is by closing down the senses, the sensory information that we get from reality, and then using what Neville would call our beautiful human imagination to launch ourselves into that new consciousness. And we can only get there using the power of our imagination, because if it's not in our reality, we can't use reality to get there. We have to use our imagination, and to do that for each area of your life. I will say that to do that does require some quiet time. It does require you creating space for yourself. If it's not selfish to give yourself that, because when you have everything that you want, then you are free to give everything, all of yourself, to others, because you know you're living your best life and you want to share that. So there is nothing selfish about creating time for yourself, space for yourself, to really get clear on what is it that you want, and then who do you have to become in order to have that thing. And then feeling into it, dropping into it, using your power, the power of your imagination, to really feel like you are already there. You already have what it is that you want, and then living in that state of consciousness more so than your reality. Because keep in mind, consciousness is the one and only reality, and reality is only ever reflecting back your state of consciousness. So if you don't have something that you want, it's simply because you are holding that consciousness. Nothing wrong with that. You know how to do it. You simply engage the power of your imagination and up level to that new consciousness where you already have that thing. So I hope that this has given you a little bit of inspiration to create that space and time for yourself in your life. Doesn't have to be a weekend away. If it can be, then that's awesome. I highly recommend it. But even if it's just a couple of hours where you close the door and put yourself in a room on your own, then even that is a gift to yourself. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please feel free to share with family and friends. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye.